95% are propaganda, and that's okay. In war, you can do propaganda. So sometimes I come here just to do analysis so that people can be able to see actually what is out there and compare. You have heard maybe people, they say, okay, government is defeated, or IO is defeated, or White Army are joining, and then maybe the militia of Matiang Anyora, other Denka, Nuer, white militia joining the war. All these things that you will be hearing them, and you will hear about winning. Every side celebrate we are winning. All these things, the reality in the ground right now is that the war is still going on in most part of the county, and what is happening is that government forces is pushing the SPLIO and its supporters into the villages, into the local villages. So there in the local villages, the IO is making resistance. That is the reality of what's happening in the ground. It's making a huge resistance, and there's a war, and people are getting killed, people are dying. And all sides, they are actually paying the price. That is number one, okay? Number two, IO is making resistance in local state. Most of them, they are also outside the city. They allow the government to come to cities, and government actually is in the cities, and the cities like they make pictures like Wat, Patai, Pajut, UI, those kind of cities. What is happening? The reality is that you may see, okay, they are captured. The reality is that yes, the government may get there, but actually they don't stay there. They don't actually stay in those cities. So the city, they are still contested. They are in war. People are contested about them. That is the reality. So the war is still going on. On both sides, the war is worse because there's a lot of loss, and we are talking of human life. We are talking of death. We are talking of destruction in terms of armed equipment. We are talking about home. So we are talking about total destruction, both sides. Okay, so that is the point that that we need to understand. The other thing is that there is a tension that this war can actually go into ethnic line, meaning it's going to be tribal. Okay, so that means Denka militia that are armed are going to support, they're actually fighting alongside the government troop. And then the Nuer White Army is fighting alongside the SPLIO. This is the reality. Okay? So that one is worried that maybe some other tribe might going to join, depending on how they are joining the war. We have seen the Shuluk militia fighting alongside the government. So this is the reality. What is going on in the ground. In terms of how it's going to go, my prediction is that I already predicted this, and if you go and actually see one of my statements about the war, is that there's no side is going to win. Okay, I analyze it and I figure out that yes, it's going to be fought, but no one is going to win. So this is still is holding, and I think it's going to be very difficult now to even stop it. It's going to be difficult because you see the war now is not only the two parties. A lot of actors, they are joining. So many militia are going to join, many recruitment is going to be done, and then therefore it's going to be hard to control very many factions. If one faction, two factions sign an agreement, some of the factions may refuse to sign an agreement. Okay, so that one is so the war will still on. Another thing is that the war commanders are the only one who can control this. They are fighting war. because they are being ordered. So they receive orders from leaders. So actually, if it is some people who can stop this are the leaders who order the commanders. And then the commander, they order the fighters. That's how it is. So if we can maybe people pressure the leaders, then maybe they can go to peace agreement. Or maybe regional government like IGAD or maybe other regional who are involved in the war, maybe they can do pressure and maybe people can do agreement. But now I don't see anything with the agreement, so it means that the war will still be going on, and we will still follow and how it will go. But in reality, SPLIO and the SPLIG are the main parties in this war. So the rest, if they say they're going to stop the war, I believe the war will stop. If they say we are going to peace agreement, then the people will go to peace agreement. This is the way I look at it. But right now, their status, they have not seen today. They're supposed to be a kind of agreement was called like a ceasefire in Kenya, I think. We don't know the hour of this. I will come with it and analyze that. Maybe like tomorrow I'll be able to analyze what is going on about the development of the ceasefire. Okay. For now, I think it will be important for the people of South Sudan to be focusing on ending the war, actually, because it's not going to benefit nobody. So there's no need for continuation. We just need sign agreement because the politicians right now, they are protecting themselves in Juba, and the people who are dying, they are innocent. So they can just sign the agreement and then work on the security arrangement. And then this one can only be done if the leaders are going to sign the ceasefire. So let's talk about the second part is about the governor. There is an issue now going on with the Governor Apanal. Okay? Governor Apanal is in trouble right now. He has a lot of problem right now facing. And let me do about three prediction what will happen to him. Okay? He is in crisis, and there's a lot of problem in the state, and he's in trouble with a lot of people, different kind of people, and he's in the middle, what I call a moderate person. He has a problem with the opposition. He has a problem of faction, other faction, White Army. He also has a problem now with the troop. He cannot trust the troop. And he has a problem with community. He's not trusted in the Nuer community and in the Deng community. Very big problem. Okay? So it's very hard for him now. His leadership is in crisis in the state. And this is what I think will happen to him. I think in the next, because Kir sometimes come with a list and remove a lot of people. So I think in the next list, since they are calling for his removal now, he's going to be fired. In the next firing list that will come up, he will be one of them. He's going to be fired. Maybe go and sit in his home. This is one thing. Okay. Second, I think if that one not happen, he may defect to the SPLIO. He's not going to defect to White Army. Because, you know, he's a governor, he has money, and at least he have got some status. So I believe second thing that is going to go into now, what I predicted is that he's going to defect to the SPLMIO. Okay? That's number two. So number one, that is Kir will fire him. So before he get fired, he may defect to IO actually. Because things are actually getting tough. If he's in the state, so it's a possibility that he's going to defect. If he's in Juba, then he's going to be fired and then he's going to be detained. Finally, he's going to be detained in Juba, like what happened to some of the governors. Like Dinay traveled to Juba, the governor of Jonglei State traveled to Juba, and when he was in Juba, then he was fired and then detained in the house. And he spent a couple of years later on reappointed. So this one might happen to him. Now, the problem, this guy has like three problems that's why he's getting into problem. I'm going to analyze three main problems. Number one, is insecurity in the state. Okay? Insecurity in the state means fighting. There is fighting. There's a lot of people with different problems, with different parties in the state. And this insecurity required knowledge, it required capacity, it required military, it required a lot of things, it required money. Now, the community in that state, they expect him to actually resolve some of this problem, okay, like war, like maybe hunger, maybe thing to do with his school and a lot of things. So he's given a lot of responsibility. And I think because of this expectation, people expect him to do, and he has no capacity, he doesn't have force, he is incompetent, then therefore the problem is that the insecurity is going to happen. And is happening actually. So that's the big problem now. So now he's in crisis in the middle, cannot solve the problem, and then the community also cannot trust him. And another problem is that, you know, for you to be able to be a governor in South Sudan in whole, I will say, you need to be an army general. At least you need to have some military background. I don't know if he has a military background, but if you have military background, if you don't have military background, you need to have your own militia, not government militia. This is something that South Sudanese don't understand this, okay? For you to operate, to be a governor, a strong governor, you need your own militia. So one problem with this guy is that he cannot trust the army, because the army that are in Nasser are a tribal army. And these tribal army are not his tribe, from his tribe. Some of them are maybe the militia army from Shuluk, from Denka. Then therefore, he cannot work with them. He has a problem. Okay? So now he wanted to trust maybe an armed group that will work with them, maybe from the Nuer, and he doesn't have that. So what happened is that he got some promise maybe from some white army. They say they're going to maybe work with him. And these people, they need arms, they need ammunition to be able to protect him. So what he did, he loaded some ammunition and gun from Malakal coming to Wulang. And then as on their way, there is food, there's everything. Then on their way, those gun and food were actually captured and they were seized in Balliet County. Okay, that is the problem. That's how the problem is started. Okay, so for the Denka militia, they think this kind of food and the arm is going to be used against them. So they actually suspected the governor defected to the White Army or to the IO. That's what they believe. But the reality is that this governor, he actually wanted protection for himself. He wanted to move to Nasser, and in Nasser, he doesn't trust these militia who are in government. So, and he also is not the IO. He's not in with the White Army. So he wanted, I think he wanted his own protection guard. That is the main thing. That's what people don't know actually, that kind of thing. Okay, but that's what I believe. He is doing that. He's actually trying to arm some group to protect him and move the headquarters into Nasser. Okay, that's his plan. It's not defecting. But now the reading from the government side and from security sector, they actually conclude that he's going to defect and then attack the Ngok Denka. And that's why even the attack that happened in Balliet, they are actually claiming that it's because of him, because he was not actually was not feeling good about this is about his material or maybe equipment coming to Nasser. So that is the second thing. The third thing is that you have heard when he was coming as a, and I did analysis when he was appointed. I did some analysis. The problem that he did was threatening the NGOs. Okay? NGOs that operate in Malakal, he told them, okay, they have to move to Wulang or Nasser. And if they don't move, he's going to revoke the licenses. Then he called them their blood suckers. Okay, now, there is a problem with this. One problem that many people in South Sudan don't understand is that for you to be able to be an NGO, to run an NGO in South Sudan, effective NGO, to supply thing or maybe be mandated to do something, you must be relating to some power or have a connection with the power in Juba. That means you should have either a relative working in government or maybe your dad or your uncle or somehow connection, blood. And then in that way, you will get that opportunity and maybe get access to money and get access to those NGOs and licenses to operate in the state. And that is what he doesn't know. So a lot of these people, they are leaders. They are leaders that have connection. So what they did is that they go and sit down, and then now they are fighting against him. They want Salva Kiir to fire this guy. So they go and meet with Salva Kiir and tell him, okay, this guy is not a leader, doesn't qualify, he has no capability to run the state. So now you have competitors with the NGO leaders, in the local NGO leaders. He has a problem with them. Now, another thing that he has a problem with the security, national security. Because national security now, they don't trust him anymore. They think that he has a brother who is fighting alongside the White Army, and then therefore he cannot be trusted. Moving the headquarters of Nasser cannot be trusted. There's a lot of problems. So I believe this guy, he will be fired. He's going to be fired, actually. And if he's not fired, the option for him is to defect to SPLIO. Because if he defects to SPLIO, he can still function as a governor, actually. Maybe the SPLIO will give him, because there's no any governor in rebel section now. But it's still, I don't know if his military background, if he defected and he has many fighters, that could make sense. The other thing is that if he is not careful about this, he may be arrested. Okay? That is the thing. These are the two items that I wanted to analyze today. Tomorrow, maybe I will. I want to follow about. There is an issue with the peace agreement, and then there is an issue with the United Nations, the UNMISS, which is very important. I'm coming to analyze that one separately because it's a huge thing, and I may analyze it in Tongwara because actually, the United Nations UNMISS, there's a lot of people in UNMISS. They don't know what is going on right now. So there's a discussion about removing the UN. And I have knowledge about that. So maybe tomorrow I will please share it. And thank you very much. And then I'll see you later. Bye-bye now.